Fred, I feel awful stupid.
Good. Just keep acting natural.
Mr. LeDuc, this is Judge Bexley.
Just call me your bubble ship.
Bubba, what are you doing?
I'm looking for the bunny girl. That is ugly.
It's on the right side toward the back.
That's ugly, too. You got a lot of ugliness in your mouth, Fred.
Well, at least mine is on the inside, Bubba.
Did you know that Don Bexley, the lovable Bubba from Sanford and Son, was caught in the middle of one of television's most explosive behind-the-scenes dramas? While millions of viewers were laughing at his antics on screen.
And I'll give them all to you if you have a tube of lipstick.
A tube of lipstick? What would I do with a tube of lipstick? Man, I'm a Viking, not a Vi-Queen.
Nobody knew about the salary wars, the walkouts, and the friendships that were tested when the cameras stopped rolling. Today, we're spilling all the juice on Donald Thomas Bexley, from his rise to fame to the secrets that Hollywood tried to keep buried.
Excuse me, sir. We're here for Ben Mitchell.
Ben Mitchell? Oh, he's dead.
Born on March 10th, 1910, in either Jamestown, Virginia, or Detroit, Michigan, and yes, honey, even his birthplace was controversial, Don Bexley came from a family that knew the power of performance. His daddy, Thomas Bexley, was a Bible scholar and teacher, while his mama was a classical vocalist. Talk about mixing the sacred and the stage. Now here's where it gets interesting. Don himself wrote in 1983 that he was born with a flair for the stage and had always been a clown, even during his teenage years. But what he didn't mention was how that natural comedic talent would eventually put him in the middle of one of TV's biggest power struggles.
I'm a man and a human being the same as you, and I demand the same respect as anyone else. It's Mr. Johnson.
I stand corrected, Mr. Johnson.
No sweat, Peacock.
The man was a true entertainer from day one. Orchestra director, singer, dancer, stand-up comedian, and actor. By the early 1940s, he was grinding it out in upstate New York, working with legends like Milton Berle. But here's the kicker. It was during this time that he formed a partnership that would change everything. Let me tell you about the Chitlin Circuit, honey. That network of venues where Black entertainers could perform during segregation. Don Bexley was out there grinding, working as a solo act and as part of comedy teams. He even recorded party albums with his partner Dave Turner, and they were working constantly across the United States. But here's where the story gets spicy. It was during these Chitlin Circuit days that Don first crossed paths with a young comedian named John Elroy Sanford. You might know him better as Red Fox. Now, this wasn't just a casual meeting. These two men formed a friendship that would later survive Hollywood politics, salary disputes, and the pressures of sudden fame. Can we talk about how Don was already married to his first wife, Patricia Bergeron, during these early days? Because, friend, the man had not one, not two, but 3 marriages throughout his life. Patricia Bergeron, Jillian, and then Sally. He had 2 children, Donna and Stacy's Marie, with Sally. Now, I'm not saying there was drama, but when a man goes through 3 marriages while climbing the entertainment ladder, well, you do the math. So picture this. It's the early 1970s, and Norman Lear is looking to create something revolutionary, a show that would bring Black family life to mainstream television. Red Fox gets cast as Fred, the cantankerous junk dealer, and guess who he insisted on bringing along? That's right, his old friend Don Bexley.
Friend Bubba, without whom I couldn't finance my graduation party.
But here's what most people don't know. Don's casting as Bubba wasn't just about talent. Red Fox used his starving power to get jobs for his old Chitlin Circuit family, including LaWanda Page, Slappy White, and Don Bexley. It was like a reunion tour, but on national television. Now, Don played Bubba as Fred's loyal but supposedly dim-witted friend. But y'all, that dim-witted part was just Fred's perception, and maybe the writers too. Don Bexley was sharp as a tack, and he knew exactly what was happening behind the scenes when the drama started brewing.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Well, what I do now?
Just keep telling them about your neck feeling funny. You know, make a big thing out of it.
Well, maybe I should go back where I had the accident and lay down in the street.
Here's where things get messy, and I mean messy. During the 1973-74 season, Red Fox walked off the show in what was officially called a salary dispute, though he claimed it was for health reasons. But friend, we all know what that really meant. The man wanted his money, and he wanted it now. Can you imagine being Don Bexley during this time? Your friend, the star of the show, just walked off set, and suddenly everyone's looking at you like, what you gonna do, Bubba? The producers had to write Fred Sanford out for the rest of the season, and the whole show was in chaos. But here's the tea that nobody talks about. Don stayed loyal to the show and to his friend. He didn't choose sides publicly, but behind the scenes, he was watching his friend battle the network executives while trying to keep his own career intact. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. Red Fox came back the following year and everything seemed peachy on screen. But according to Damon Wilson, who played Lamont, the relationships were never quite the same. Wilson later said he never saw Red Fox again after the show ended, except for one brief encounter in 1982.
How are you going to help somebody that turns $500,000 down? Now, this was only about a year before everything left because he did that series with Della Reese. So when Red was doing all of that, we were not in touch with each other and I hadn't seen him. I saw him after 77 and 82, 5 years later.
Now, what does this tell us about Don Bexley's position? He was the bridge between different factions on set. While other cast members were picking sides or distancing themselves, Don maintained relationships with everyone. That's political savvy, honey, something that kept him working steadily throughout his career. But the stress was real. Being in the middle of workplace drama while trying to maintain your artistic integrity and friendships, that takes a toll, and Don was feeling it. The man was already in his 60s when Sanford and Son started, and dealing with all this behind-the-scenes chaos couldn't have been easy. After Sanford and Son ended in 1977, Don Bexley didn't just disappear like some actors do. He remained friends with Red Fox up until Fox's death in 1991. While it was assumed that they were around the same age, Bexley was more than 12 years older than Fox in real life. He kept working, appearing in shows like Sanford Arms, a Sanford and Son spin-off.
Grady! Bubba? Hey, it's nice seeing you. Hey, I heard you married a beautiful lady in Chicago.
Oh, you got that right, Bubba.
Why didn't you bring her?
What's Up Doc and TJ Hooker. But here's what's interesting. He never really capitalized on his Sanford and Son fame the way some of his co-stars did. Was this by choice, or were there doors that weren't opening for him? In Hollywood, especially during the late 1970s and 1980s, being typecast as the funny sidekick could be a blessing and a curse. Don was beloved as Bubba, but that might have limited his opportunities for more serious or leading roles. And let's talk about his personal life during this time. He was married to Sally, his third wife, and by all accounts, this marriage was more stable than his previous ones. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get it right, you know? Don Bexley lived to be 87 years old, passing away on April 15th, 1997 in Hampton, Virginia. But his final years weren't without challenges. The man who had brought laughter to millions was dealing with his own health issues, and the entertainment industry had largely moved on from the type of comedy that made him famous. It was said that he died from kidney and heart failure. Here's something that might surprise you. Don Bexley was relatively private about his health struggles. Unlike some celebrities who make their battles public, he kept his personal challenges to himself. This was a man who had spent decades being everyone's funny friend, and he maintained that dignity even when things got tough. But here's what gets me. While Red Fox died suddenly in 1991 while filming The Royal Family,
and he falls. Well, he was always doing pratfalls, and he was laying on the floor, and I put my hands on him. He said, get my wife, and somebody go get Mrs. Fox. And they went and got her, and they pronounced him dead, and they put him in the ambulance, and we all got in our cars and followed him to the hospital.
Don lived 6 more years. Can you imagine outliving your most famous co-star and friend? The man who gave you your biggest break, who brought you into the spotlight, is gone, and you're left to carry those memories alone.
As you ramble on through your new life, dear brother, no matter what might be your goal, keep your eye upon that donut. Forget about that hole.
Now, let's talk about something everyone's curious about: the money. Don Bexley's net worth at the time of his death was estimated to be modest compared to today's standards. We're talking about a man who was a working actor, not a superstar, during an era when residuals and syndication deals weren't as lucrative as they are today. But here's the thing. Don Bexley was never in it just for the money. He was a craftsman, a performer who loved his work. Yes, he wanted to be paid fairly. Who doesn't? But he wasn't out there demanding star salaries or walking off sets like some of his contemporaries. The real wealth Don Bexley accumulated was in relationships, experiences, and the impact he had on audiences. That's a different kind of richness, but doesn't pay the bills, you know? Here's what Don Bexley's career teaches us about loyalty, professionalism, and survival in Hollywood. While others were making headlines with their drama and demands, Don was quietly building a career that spanned decades.
Please be seated. Not the groom.
I'm the best man, too. See, I got the ring right here.
All in good time, brother. But for now, sit.
He understood that sometimes the best strategy is to be the steady, reliable one in the room. His portrayal of Bubba Bexley wasn't just comic relief, it was a representation of Black male friendship, loyalty, and community that was rarely seen on television at that time.
See, them the only 2 things that his father gave him and left for me on earth is those records and these beady eyes.
I want my daddy's record.
Don brought dignity and humanity to a character that could have easily been just a stereotype. And let's keep it real. Don Bexley paved the way for future generations of Black actors and comedians. His work on Sanford & Son helped prove that Black-led television could be both commercially successful and culturally significant. So here's the scandal that nobody talks about. Don Bexley was the real MVP of Sanford & Son, and nobody gave him his proper due. While everyone was focused on Red Fox's antics and Domino Wilson's dramatic moments, Don was quietly holding the show together with his professional attitude and comedic timing. The man navigated salary wars, personality conflicts, and industry politics while maintaining his integrity and friendships. In a business known for destroying relationships and crushing dreams, Don Bexley managed to keep his humanity intact. Now, obviously Don Bexley isn't working on any current projects. The man passed away in 1997, but his legacy lives on through reruns of Sanford & Son, which continue to entertain new generations of viewers. Every time someone watches Bubba's antics with Fred Sanford, they're witnessing Don Bexley's artistry.
This is the big one. This is the big one. My son's choking a white woman. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you with a fat friend.
His influence can be seen in contemporary Black comedy, where the loyal friend character has evolved beyond the simple sidekick role that Don helped establish. Modern comedians and actors owe a debt to pioneers like Don Bexley, who broke ground in television. And that's the real tea on Don Bexley, a man who survived Hollywood's golden age of television through talent, loyalty, and sheer professionalism.